Welcome to the Wild Medicine Podcast. My name is Tarani, the owner of earthly.com, a sacred path to inner healing, self-discovery, and creativity. I am an energy healer and professional artist ready to reweave ceremony and heart-centeredness into humanity. Wild Medicine is a podcast to hold sacred space to learn the ancient ways of wellness. We talk about anything from spiritual alchemy to astrology and even trauma transmutation. It is my mission to educate you on the wild medicines of our world and to show you the way to unleash your personal power. This podcast is full of episodes with both just me and plenty of our powerful guests. Each episode we will bring to you the medicines of story, knowledge, and transformation. Now is our divine time to step into the sacred space and to take in all the powerful knowledge that I have for you today. Sit back, relax, and always tune in. Take what you need and leave whatever does not serve you. It is my honor to bring this message forth for you. Please enjoy. Blessings and greetings, my beloved humans that I connect with through this beautiful podcast. Welcome to another episode. I'm extremely grateful that you are here today, and I would just love to open up with that, extending that gratitude and really just saying thank you for listening, thank you for supporting, thank you for engaging, and thank you for listening to the calling to click on this podcast and check it out. I'm Tarani, so if you're not aware of that, hello. I am the host of this podcast and the sacred space holder of the Wild Medicine experience. So yeah, thank you. This week's episode is going to be on a topic that I have been asked about quite a bit, especially in the most recent year, and a topic that I am growing through. Let's just say that off the bat. I am growing through and I'm learning through life guiding me, as well as having mentors and people in my life to guide me. So it's an ever-growing process. So I want to talk today about being a financially free female. Yes, a financially free female. And I've had a lot of people ask me how I have started my own business, what that looks like, how I operate, and it's kind of difficult to explain that in like an Instagram message or even an email or a text or all the different variety of ways that people have reached out to me. So I thought a podcast would be a beautiful opportunity to come through and share my experience and my lessons and my modalities that I practice to keep myself in a state of being financially free. And we're basically in the process of completely amping up the Wild Medicine Podcast. We have some amazing podcasts coming very soon with profound speakers, profound medicine holders, profound artists to come into the podcast and share their wisdom and their medicine with you guys. And so I thought, you know what? Let's just do a solo episode again, and this is a perfect opportunity to do it. So, yeah, I guess let's go ahead and just jump right in. I'm sitting here with my morning coffee. I, did my to-do list, kind of an average thing for me to do and start my day. And I guess the best place to begin is to let you guys know. So if you're not aware, I own my own business, 2 businesses. The first business that I own is Earthly. And Earthly is my personal brand that I've been working on for multiple years now, where I share my handmade and spirit-infused goods of apothecary products with you guys, as well as my intuitive art that I share with you guys. The educational platform where I'm able to share with you guys through blogs, online courses, and in-person ceremonies, as well as sharing my in-person sessions where we can come together, connect, and do energy clearing and readings and overall soul guidance and mentorship. So Earthly is my personal brand where I do the work that I am called to do, that I have been trained to do through life, through ceremony, and through certifications, to bring others deeper into their own heart, into their own mind, and their own alignment with spirit, and provide tools to get to that path in a clear way that is guided, supported, and ever-growing. And I've been working on that for years now, like literally years. I remember being like 13 and having that epiphany moment while realizing that I am a creator, I am an artist, I make amazing things, I have been for my entire life, and realizing that, oh, I could sell this, and that's kind of where Earthly sprouted. My name, is Tarani, and the root of that word is Terra, and Terra is earth. Terra is the earth goddess. Terra is so many multidimensional beings. Terra is compassion. Terra is... yes, I am very grateful for my name. And so when I understood that, when I gained that knowledge of, that the root of my name truly meant earth, that's where I invited the Earthly into being, and that was, my Tumblr, my Instagram name, and all that jazz, and now it has evolved into my personal brand, and so that's that. And then my other business that I co-created and co-own and 100% operate is Global Healing Circles, and Global Healing Circles is a platform and a global network of meditators, healers, and folks who are devoted to bringing world peace into our reality. We host mass meditation circles currently in Houston, but we are expanding globally. In the next year that we are definitely going to be doing more healing circles in West Texas and Central Texas, as well as on the West Coast and East Coast, and then, hopefully by 2021, we will definitely be out of the country and fully fulfilling the mission of Global Healing Circles. And so it's a beautiful space that I've been working on for over 3 years now with my best friend Andrea, where we come together and we host donation-based meditations centered around sound healing and world peace. It's a beautiful place where people can come together and meditate and experience that ever magnificent growing energy that is created when multiple people come together in the name of meditation and self-care and self-exploration, and many kindred spirits come where people can get to know one another. We really root it in the arts, so we love bringing out artists and having vendors and art installations and really creating a whole experience centered around healthy human connections centered around meditation. Some people have almost explained, ooh, I just saw a blue jay. I'm sitting in front of my big window and there's so many majestic birds that come and fly through. But yeah, it's just a beautiful space. So that's Global Healing Circles. And then I also work under 3 other companies and like almost as a contractor, and those are Silent Disco Vibes. So I assist my significant other in his business and work for him when needed. And then I'm also a face painter, so I go to children's birthday parties and I go to different festivals and events and do face painting. And then I also am a yoga and meditation teacher at studios in Houston. Right now, Soul Tribes is the studio where I am guiding meditations and yin yoga classes. And so those are my my areas of work. Those are my areas that I am growing, that I am strengthening, and I feel very blessed to have created a reality where my work is soul-serving, my work is self-created, and my work is devoted to not only my spiritual growth, but those all around me's spiritual growth, and each person that I touch with my work and with what I spend every single day working on is in the highest good of all. So I feel super blessed to create that environment for myself, and a lot of people see it and are like, how did you do that? How do you do this? Like, how do you function? How does it all work? And I think even my family is still like, what do you do? Or how do you do it? Or like, what even the hell is Tyranny doing? So it's kind of fun. I don't know. It's definitely something new. I think soul entrepreneurship is definitely something that is still emerging, is still widely not even thought about. The fact that you can be an entrepreneur and be in alignment with your spirit and your mission and provide a magical experience for people and support yourself off of it. So that's what I do. And I think something that really, when I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about, okay, what sparked me to gain an entrepreneurial spirit, what sparked me to come into a place where I felt confident enough to sell what I love and sell what I am doing and what I'm experiencing and what I have to offer. And it brings me back to this memory of 15-year-old Tara. And at this time, I was just being a 15-year-old doing all the wild child things. And I was at a friend's house. And my friend's house that I was at, her mom had a friend that was staying there, and he had been staying there. I don't know. He was hanging out. I don't know if he was hanging out or staying there or whatever, but he was there. And he had tarot cards. And this guy was kooky. He was so freaking kooky. And just really, my memory of him is distorted, but he was kooky and weird. Anyway, so he had tarot cards. And at this time, I was still kind of skeptical around tarot cards. I think my perception of tarot and just overall divination was still skewed by the mass media and the fear instilled image that they put into our mind. So I was really skeptical, but I felt this urge. I was like, okay, I want a reading, like whatever, like let's have fun, let's just do it. And so I invited him to pull a card for me, and he pulled a card for me, and I freaking wish I could remember what this card was. Maybe somebody will hear this podcast and will remember, and if you do, please hit me up because I'm curious. I can't remember for the life of me, but I remember exactly what he said. And it was so bold, and it was chilling. And little 15-year-old Tara was like, holy shit, like, damn, that was intense. So basically, he pulls this card, and he's all wide-eyed, and almost like this gloss goes over his eyes. If you've experienced people channeling, maybe you're aware of this glossy look they get over their face, or if you are an energy healer or somebody that works in that channeling realm, you're aware of that look that I'm talking about. Anyways, he got that look, and he said, do not ever rely on a man for money. And at this time, that was not necessarily something that I had really put a lot of thought into, but I can see certain characteristics within my life and my thought process and the world around me at that time on why Spirit brought this message to me. And so that's basically all he said, and then he kind of just like popped out of this glazed look, and my friends were like, holy shit, and I was like, yeah, and we just like kind of walked away and went about like whatever we were doing, just hanging out, and I kind of brushed it off. But since that day, it's always been in the back of my mind, and it really caused me at that time to spark this space within me where I really had to ponder on my worth and ponder on why I had some kind of desire to have financial assistance from a man and like what that relationship looked for me. And being a teenager, that's kind of like a deep thought to have, I feel. This blue jay is so beautiful. It's just like hanging out right outside my window. This is so profound. So yeah, I had that, and I think right around that time, I was probably like a year before in a relationship with a guy. And like, let's just say I grew up really fast, guys, like super freaking fast. And I was in a relationship with a guy, and he was way older than I was at that time. And I was in a situation where basically my needs were not being met by the parent that I was living with at that time. And I basically kind of had to figure out food, had to figure out my own transportation, had to figure out, even there was times where I could not physically be in that house due to the conditions. And I realized that the guy that I was dating at that time and did share deep love for, I had to rely on him for those basic needs to be met. Like, God bless this man for helping me, and I am grateful for the love we shared, but that was a big thing that I realized once we broke up, and having this card reading, realizing that, like, damn, like, let's not create a pattern. Like, yes, that was an experience that I needed at that time. Like, I needed freaking food, I needed to eat, I needed transportation. There was times where I had to stay at his house because of things that were going on in my home. And although it worked out, I realized that, like, I didn't really ever want to be in another situation where I had to rely really on anybody outside of me to financially build myself. And at that time, kind of around that realization and around that time where, like, literally I had to, like, be 13, 14 years old and figure out how to make money for myself, even though I wasn't legally able to work. And something fun that I did, because at that time I lived in Las Vegas, Nevada, I literally set out a blanket at First Friday and sold tie-dye that I had made. And I made some dope shit, guys. Like, let's just be real. I made some really cool tie-dye and, resold clothes that I found at thrift stores, basically just on a blanket on the street in Las Vegas, and just took cash. And that's how I made money for like a few months at that time in my life to support myself and having like bus fare and having food or different things that I needed. So that was a time where, like, that experience and that whole time of my life really pushed me to be creative in how I was making money and providing for myself, while also realizing that I didn't like the feeling of relying on someone else for financial assistance. So fast forward, now that lesson still has stuck with me in a very deep way, and I have pretty much become devoted to supporting myself. And I feel like maybe a lot of women struggle with that. In my experience, that's something that I witnessed, that it's really easy for us as women, and there's nothing really wrong with it. It depends on like your lifestyle and what you desire and what you want out of your life. I know that for me in my past lives and readings that I have had on my past lives, that I have lived many lifetimes where I was meditating or focused on a spiritual devotion practice and didn't care at all about working. I was mainly in isolation and kind of fending for myself off of the land and where I was living, or I was supported by a community as a mystic and a healer. And so in this lifetime, being in the living in the 2000s right now, and in a society where that's not possible, it's very important for me as a soul to grow and to support myself fully in this life, especially since it is such a rigorous life that we live in. especially, with modernization. So it's been pretty clear to me that I need to financially support myself. So that kind of definitely sparked my entrepreneurial spirit. And I've always been an artist. I've always been a creative person. It's been not only a spiritual outlet for me to find myself, but it's also become a deeply emotional way for me to connect with myself and connect with my mind and my heart. And I realized that there's great value in what I create and the knowledge that I hold. When I was 14, I got my Reiki 1 certification, and if you're curious in that whole experience in my life, there's episodes in the archive all about that. And I used my self-healing. I used Reiki for self-healing for probably the first 3 years until maybe almost even a year after I got my master's certification. I was really just using it for self-healing. And then I stepped in, and then when I moved back to the States from Costa Rica, I decided that it was time for me to step into that role and offer this healing for others. And Dash, my beloved significant other, who I did a podcast with in the past about entrepreneurship, and he is an entrepreneur. He's been an entrepreneur forever, and he definitely inspired me to follow my heart and trust myself in growing a business, not just growing like my art and sharing my art with people, but like actually fulfilling a whole business. And he's really nurtured me and mentored me in that way. And I created Earthny, and it's been a growing process. I'm learning through experience, trial and error, and really having to trust myself and believe in myself, and constantly affirm that others are ready and willing to pay for my great work. And so being a financially free woman, I really think that the first step is taking ownership of your financial reality and taking ownership of your passions and really, really, really becoming devoted to sharing your passions with the world. And then that second step that I figured out for myself through my own experience is to trust. To trust and believe in yourself 100%. Just trust and believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, believe in your ability to provide for yourself, believe that others are willing to pay for your great work. And then, from there, you just got to set goals and you got to have your plan. Once you create your plan and really figure out, what are you offering to this world? What are you wanting to share with this world? That can kind of be a hard thing to think about. I recently just took on my first mentorship. I don't know what word to use for that. But I'm doing a business coaching and mentorship for a beautiful woman, and as well as trying to guide other females in my life, friends, into following their heart and their dreams. And a big thing that I noticed is that a lot of people just really don't know what their purpose is, don't really know what they want to share, don't know what they're capable of. And my best advice is to really just go back to your 20s, your teens, and those very exciting youthful years of your life, and think about what excited you, what brought you pleasure, what brought you joy, what was fun for you, what did you really, really, really enjoy, what sparked you. Go back to those years and really ponder on, what was that, and how can that serve as your purpose? How can you regain that? And how can you share that with the world? So I think that that's a beautiful way to really figure out what it is that you're here for and how to do it. And from there, just set goals. Like for me, I set a goal for myself to finally make a website and solidify my business and have a space where people could actually purchase what I'm creating. I started out with creating really just basic, simple things that I was sharing was my spiritual jewelry that I would create and Reiki charge myself, as well as Reiki candles and bath blends. And that is what I started with. That's what I worked with mainly for the first year of Earthny being a business selling goods. And then I would do pop-up markets. And then when we started Global Healing Circles, I would sell in person. So my first goals really was just to create a space where I could sell and have that financial fruition, having a space to create that, So you have to set goals. So, and then after setting those goals, my next advice is to have patience and persistence. Really, really, really believing in yourself and trusting that what you're desiring is also desiring you, and that there are people out there who are also desiring what you've created. And that everything you create, there is a person and a purpose for it. And so having patience for all of those stars to align and come together. But that being said, you can't just put something out there and expect it to just freaking happen. You have to do work. So whether that means that you have to build a website, you have to do your SEO, you have to have blogs, you have to have funnels, you have to be on your social media platforms, you have to scout out events that would work with your market and what you're trying to sell and share with the world, being vulnerable and being able to share like, hey, this is what I'm doing, You have to have that persistence in your work. And without that, there can't be any sustainability, because what you give in is what you get out. So you have to be 100% there if you want your business to grow, if you want your financial situation to grow. And I in my, I don't know what year of business, but I finally realized that a blockage outside of the persistence factor was also my ability to feel comfortable with my finances. I think that not just women, but people in general have a lot of fear around financial abundance, and even avoid looking at the bank account and really thinking about money and realistically being honest with ourselves about our financial situations. And there's an avoidance factor. And once I caught myself in that avoidance factor and recognized it and was ready to release it and started doing the work that I needed to do in order to release that financial factor, I was ready to get my goods. I was able to welcome in the financial goals that I had set for myself. Because when I first started my business, it was like, I'm just going to do this. I had other jobs. I was serving. I was nannying. I was doing other things that I was involved with to create, a life where I could live and support myself. So once I really was like, okay, like, yes, I have a brand. It's working. It's strong, and I'm ready to see that financial commitment to come through so that I can fully support myself through my personal brand. I had to look at my financial commitments, and I had to look at my beliefs around money and what I was ready to welcome in for my life. Because if your ideas, don't match if your ideas of what you want for yourself don't match what you're willing to do, then it's never going to come together, especially in the financial sector, because energy is money, it's exchange. And if you're not willing to literally look at your bank account and be up to date on it and be engaging with it, then the universe, there's blockage there. So I had to really do that work. And I think that, you have to have confidence and trust and just 100% readiness to be the financial creator of your reality, and be confident in that, Yeah. So that's a cool thing that you can do and look at. And, another thing that I really think has helped me and growing my business and growing to be where I am today. And both of my businesses that I created, a big factor of growing them is being aware of your market. So, in soul entrepreneurship, there is no handbook for it. There is no, there's nobody saying, there's some people saying like, oh, do this and it works, but it's really soul-based, and it's really based around what you intuitively feel like is good for you, is ready for you, and listening to your calling. But there are specific things that you can do in that market space and be aware of to grow your finances. And so just watching your market, seeing what other people are doing, seeing what's actually happening in the market space that you're in. So for me, I sell crystals, I sell apothecary. So looking at, other ways that people who are also in similar businesses are doing. So, blogs, having a podcast, sharing content, sharing knowledge, persistently sharing the abundance of what you're selling. I'm definitely against copying people, but in every single business, in every single market, it is wise and 100% okay to look at those who are successful in your market and model after them. Take the advice from what you see that's working in their business, what you feel connected to, and do it for yourself. Find your own way to do it. Find it in a way that's authentic to what you're creating, while still recognizing that this is something that is working in your market. So no matter what it is that you're trying to create, what it is in your business, or a partnership, whatever realm or market you're in, I highly advise in doing that. So, that's going to look different if you're trying to be a physical trainer rather than trying to open a cafe or a restaurant, or if you're trying to be trying to sell crystals or jewelry. That's going to be different than selling like a t-shirts and stuff. So you really have to look at your niche and see what's working, see what the consumers are enjoying, and from there you can have an actual strategy on how you're going to make sales. Being a woman in business is something that is still new, and I know that a lot of my followers are females, so this is why I'm pretty much catering this entire podcast to being a financially free female. It's still a new thing. We're still in an age where we're building our professional recognition and our collective confidence, and actually being able to provide for ourselves and trust that what we have is valuable. And I think a lot of it is like an emotional and spiritual liberation, as well as a work ethic liberation, having to retrain ourselves as a collective to empower one another. And something that, I've definitely had business or, worked with specific people where there's definitely competition over collaboration. And for me, as a female entrepreneur, I don't believe in that competition. Of course there's fucking competition. This is business, But the best thing you can do is collaborate with people that are into what you're doing, who are also doing it. And especially when it comes to something that's centered around spirituality and the welfare of all, the more the merrier. And the more you can engage people in, purchasing and investing in themselves in this way, the better. So if if you're creating apothecary or jewelry and there's somebody else who's doing it, befriend them and share with them what's working for you. You have to befriend people that are in your industry. I think that as we are evolving as human beings, as our social standards are evolving, and as business is always evolving, I'm a firm believer that there is more than enough for all of us. And so, Find mentors, find people, feel comfortable in what you're selling and why you're doing it and your intention, and feel comfortable connecting with others who have a similar mission and who are doing the same things. I think that, the more that you do that and the more you strengthen that collaboration factor of, creating something for yourself and creating a business for yourself, the more freedom you experience. You have to figure out, for me, it didn't feel good working in the jobs where I was working under somebody that really didn't even know me, didn't care about me, and I didn't like feeling like I was replaceable. If you're a server in the service industry and just the overall restaurant industry, that's a reality. Like, you are replaceable, and most of the times your employers don't care about you. And I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like the competition. I didn't like the just the constraints from that. And so as I am pretty much built my life into being a public figure and a medicine holder and a sacred space creator, it's been very important for me to cultivate an environment that is constructive for everyone's growth. I host conscious markets here in Houston where we bring out pop-up style markets where there's people who are selling things in the area of health, wellness, and spirituality. And that's something that we really try to cultivate, an environment of collaboration, of everybody looking out for each other, of everybody supporting one another. And I feel like that is a reflection in the people who come and support those artists and vendors and our customers. They feel that good environment and that good energy. And no matter what business you're in, energy is always going to be such a big factor at play. If if there's some underlying unhealthy energy and limiting beliefs, limiting practices, and limiting energy, that's all going to be showing up and presented in your business. And even if it's like, say you're not wanting to start your own business, you're just wanting to start a career path or go after a certain job, or just come into a space for yourself where you're emotionally, spiritually, and physically being a financially free female, not relying on somebody else to pay your bills, relying on somebody else to take care of you, but like having that freedom for yourself, like that is so important that you do that underlying work, that underlying energy work, the belief system work, and trusting and following your heart and knowing that you are capable and you are worthy. If something that has super helped me is that perspective of, if somebody else can do it, why can't I? If this person can create paintings and artwork and something completely just exported out of their mind and their hands and their creative energy, why can't I do it? If this person can make millions of dollars off of their artwork, why can't I? If this person can guide a yoga class, why can't I do it? If this person can get hired at this company in this position with this experience, why can't I do it? You have to believe in yourself. And you have to follow your purpose. If you're not following your heart, if you're not following your purpose, if you're not choosing to do what you love and love what you do, that abundance factor is never going to feel fulfilled. Because you're doing something underlying that doesn't serve you, that doesn't really feel good. And I think that all of us as humans have a deep desire to pretty much feel like we're making a difference, And if you don't really feel like you're making a difference, or you feel like you're having to compromise your happiness and your happiness and your joy for somebody else's profit, it just doesn't feel good. So I just always want to inspire others to live a life where it's in alignment with your desires, with your joy, your growth, and your prosperity. There's more than enough room for all of us to be prosperous. There's more than enough room for all of us to guide all the meditations and create all the crystal jewelry in the apothecary. And to be quite frank, we're all learning from each other. And at this day and age, we are all learning from somebody else who has embarked on this journey, especially with apothecary and medicine making and really any field, even being an artist. We're all learning and being grown and inspired from one another, inevitably. So, don't hate or rain on somebody's parade because they're doing something similar to you. It's just going to block your abundance. So, I don't know. That's a strong message, something I'm really passionate about. And I think that, I just want you guys to know that you're capable, If you're in financial hardship right now, if you're in a situation where what you're doing for money isn't fulfilling, create a plan, create a goal, create a mission that inspires you, that feels good for you, and do the inner work that you need to do to believe in yourself, to take that leap of faith. Take a risk that will grow you into the future self that you are deeply desiring. A huge leap of faith I just took in my business is I hired an assistant, and that's kind of why, I haven't been as consistent with releasing the podcasts, is because I'm in the process of, training my assistant and figuring out what to delegate to her and, going through those growing pains. But I took that leap of faith and I hired her, and the reason I hired her is, there's multiple reasons. She's definitely qualified for the job. I definitely feel confident in her ability to provide what I need in the position. But also, in our interview and in her cover letter, she shared that this year she has devoted herself to coming back into an authentic alignment with her life. She had worked in HR, she had worked as a school teacher, and worked in a lot of different areas where she realized that she was compromising her skills, her happiness, and truly what her heart was longing for somebody else's profit. And that really touched me, and that really made me excited to provide a job for her, because I saw that she was devoted to stepping up into her life in a way where she would follow her heart and do things for money that truly brought her joy and authenticity. And that's the matter of the fact, is when you're ready to step into a place where you are gratefully doing what you love and loving what you do, other people want to support you. Other people are ready to support you. Other people are inspired by you, and they want to support you in any way they can when they see that you're one of those humans who are stepping up to the plate and taking hold of their reality. You're ready to do the work, and you're ready to create what you love. And of course, depending on our circumstances, you can't always just freaking quit your job and start your own business, or quit your job and find another business that's inspiring for you. You got to have cushion. You got to make sure that your basic needs are met before you take that leap of faith and plan ahead. But start doing that work now. There's no reason to stay somewhere where you're not feeling fulfilled. And, no matter what work it is, say you want to be a model, or you want to be in TV, you want to be an actor, or, you want to be an entrepreneur. Another big advice that I have for you guys that's definitely coming in strong for me is do as much of it as you can for yourself, by yourself. Figure out how to make those flyers. Figure out how to land those jobs on your own. Figure out what you can do without an agent, without a PR person, without somebody marketing. Figure out all the marketing things for yourself. Do as much as you can of it for yourself. Create all that content as much as you can for yourself until you are at a financial point where you can hire somebody else to do that. And, I'm super stoked to finally be in a place where I could actually do that, and where I was actually willing to take my hard-earned dollars and pay somebody else to do that and feel good about it and know that good integrity was there. So yeah, you gotta believe in yourself. You gotta trust. And you gotta, I just know there's so many people deep down who feel just like how I felt. Tired of working for somebody else that didn't, and going home at the end of the day and not feeling like, you're living out your purpose. And it's really hard to be in a state of financial freedom when you have that, I think all of us, no matter where we are in the world, no matter what we're doing for money, we want to be financially free. And as women, that's something that's taken a lot of work to gain. And I think we need to, I feel so fortunate, so fortunate and so blessed to be living in a day and age where I can own my own business, where I am with a man who supports me working, supports me paying my own bills, and supports me being financially abundant. I feel so blessed to be in that space. And I feel like as women in this day and age, that's a collective blessing that we hold. And I just want to really continue to support other women in finding their financial freedom. Knowing that their income goals, what they're wanting to make a month in order to experience freedom and in order to have a life where they are able to, pay for experiences that bring them joy, where they're able to financially support their household and their children, and able to live in a way that isn't painful. Living paycheck to paycheck is hard. I've done it. I've literally lived sale to sale. And it's so crazy. People don't realize, there's days where I literally had no idea how I was going to make it all work. And then somebody made a purchase on my website out of the blue, and they didn't even know, but hey, that's my grocery money for the next 2 weeks. Or, thank you, that was the last $30 I needed to pay this bill. You don't realize how hard it is, and a lot of the commitments you have to make, when you're starting a business. It's always growing and flowing, and something you really have to grow into, but you have to be willing to make those sacrifices that you wouldn't if you were at a salary job working, for somebody else, for the better or for the worse. That's something that you don't really have to often deal with. If I'm not working, typically I'm not getting paid. I have not built my business to run that way yet. That's a very attractive idea to me, but right now in my business, basically, I have to be working my little tushy off in order to actually see dollar signs. And that's okay. I'm okay with that, and I've learned to love that. And I find freedom through that because it opens a lot of possibilities for me, the fact that I can create beautiful things and people are excited to buy it from me, and I can create medicine, I can hold ceremony, I can hold sacred space for people and financially support myself through it. I'm so grateful. And I think becoming a financially free woman is a very important part of my life. And there's a lot that I've had to do to get here. But I think the main thing that has helped me start my own business, that helped me, launch my career, is having trust, persistence, and patience, and being devoted to supporting myself for myself. Yes, I have a home with my lover. Yes, we share bills. But at the end of the day, I'm in charge of my finances, and I do not rely on anybody outside of me to pay my bills. And I'm grateful for that, and through being devoted to that, the universe has consistently showed up for me and making sure that everything's paid. And if it's not, I'm not scared to ask for help. I'm able to ask for help. And that feels good. It feels freeing. And my biggest prayer is that, others find that too, that freedom, because we all deserve it. We all deserve to be free, especially financially. There's so much money in the world. It blows my mind. It's literally, I can't even comprehend how much money there is in the world. And there's so many ways to make money. And you just got to go out and do it. We have the internet. We have connections. You just got to do what you got to do. If you need to sit on your computer and research the right people that you need to connect with in order to get a specific career goal that you have to put in that work. We have so many resources at our fingertips to make sure that we're living an abundant life and following through with our joy. You know how many tirelessly hours I've spent researching on my computer, my market, people who I can reach out to for sponsorships, for events, or people who are hosting events, what they're doing, how they're making it work, how to actually make sales on your website, how to learn where sales are coming from, how to collaborate with other creators. There's a lot of back-end work, and you just have to get out there and start researching, and you have to get out there and just start doing the work. There's very few people out there where the shit just falls in their lap. You got to inch by inch get to where you're going and grow into what's meant for you. And it's hard work, but it's good work. It feels good. My heart has been liberated. I worked in the service industry for too long, and retail industry, and selling things for people who didn't give a fuck about me, and it didn't feel good. And honestly, even now, I think when I was working, maybe not now, recently that's changed, but for a very long time, I was making significantly less money working for myself, being self-employed, than I was working under these other corporations. But I felt more financially abundant and free working for myself. And I felt that I was actually provided for when I became devoted to my financial freedom and all that entails. That doesn't just mean having enough money to do what I want and what I love. It means having integrity with how I'm making my money. It means being in a abundant and healthy relationship with money. Money is just energy. And the faster you learn that and connect with that essence and accept that energy into your life, the better things work out for you. And you got to realize where your time is best spent and where it's not best spent. And it's okay if you're in a transition job, but realize what's a transition job to the end, what's a career. And don't waste your time working somewhere that's a transition job for too long. Know your worth, know what you're capable of, and know when enough is enough, and have confidence to always look for something better for you, because you deserve it. So, yeah, I think that's what I have for you guys today. If you have more questions regarding this topic, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm down to engage in this conversation. If you're interested in doing a business mentorship, hit me up. This is something that I'm not exactly offering just to anybody and everybody, but if you need help, I'm here to help. So reach out. I'm really just ready to see other people doing what they love and loving what they do. And I think a lot of that, way more than a lot of people give honor to and recognize to, has, honestly a lot to do with the emotional and the confidence factor of believing in yourself. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to show you that if I can do it, why can't you do it? And if you have a great idea, freaking do it. Figure out what it's going to take for you to do it and trust that. So trust, and do, and believe, and just watch the magic happen and do what you got to do to make the magic happen. Thank you guys for listening, and if you want to support my great work, go to earthly.com, check it out, see what I got going there for you, and treat yourself to some of our beloved products and even our online ceremonies. I started doing remote gatherings for the full moon and new moon. Reserve yourself a spot for that. Come to our in-person ceremonies. I host retreats. And even if you're not able to financially support me and you want to still support, follow me on Instagram, email me, engage with me, share my work with others, watch my videos. There's so many ways you can support entrepreneurs without, financial fronts. There's always energy exchange. There's always, just simply a like or a comment or, fully watching a video and whatnot makes a big difference in the lives of those who are trusting the process. Because that's all it is. Being financially free really is trusting the process. And as a woman, as a female, it's something that, even in the United States, I think really only 100 years we've been growing into this, and a lot of that has been diluted and shape-shifted, and, we're still exercising our rights and gaining our place in the work world, but trust it, believe in yourself, and find your purpose, and don't let anybody else say anything otherwise. If you want to do it for yourself, and feel confident in doing for yourself, and there's nothing wrong with making money by doing what you love and providing something for the world that is needed. There's too many corporations out there. There's too many places of business out there that are making money in ways that really aren't beneficial for anybody. So why can't you make money doing something that brings you joy and is, good for the betterment and health and wellness and overall growth for humanity as a whole? So sending you guys big love there. Reiki to you, and big blessings. Definitely subscribe to this podcast if you enjoyed this conversation or if you've been enjoying our conversations here. And leave us a review. That's a way that it really helps. It really helps more than a lot of you guys even realize. Not only in, algorithms and all that jazz, but also in my confidence. Knowing that you guys are willing to engage with me in that way really, really warms my heart, as well as shows me what you guys honor, what you respect, why this space is important for you, and why I should continue to invest my time and energy into it. And yeah, so much love and blessings to all of you on this fine day. And yeah, continue to follow us. You can follow us at Wild Medicine Podcast or at earthly_energy. And enjoy all the beautiful blessings coming your way from my heart to yours. Sat Nam.